Welcome back, you wonderful and amazing people. I am G, and this is G on Watt. Guys, we're here. We're going to talk about the entire season one of The Wheel of Time. The likes, the dislikes, the good, the bad, the ugly. Which there was a lot of all of it, really. Overall, guys, I really enjoyed the series so far. The my issues, I think my biggest issues with it are the beginning and the ending, but all the stuff in the middle I really enjoyed. Um, let's start with the opening of the season. It starts off with a really weird exchange with the Reds, and I firmly believe that the opening of the show should have been the scene that we had in episode 4 for the opening, where of Logain conquering Geldon. And I think it would have set up the entire show so much better. And I think it would have given a lot more weight to that scene with the Reds after you could have put it anywhere up into the point where they had Logain captured, and it would have made so much more sense, and I think it would have given a lot more weight to what happens when they gentle Logain later on. Like, because this would have sort of been a peak without seeing it. Giving you it at the beginning, there was no context. There was no frame of reference for anything yet. And I think the whole Logain opening would have given you such a much more dramatic opening. And then we can go to Moraine's little speech and then cut to the Two Rivers. That was really it. The pacing is a little weird in the first episode. It's a little janky, but as the episodes go on, it gets much better. So I think they just sort of hit their stride, and then the finale really had some rough spots. Like, it had some cool spots, don't get me wrong, but it had some rough spots. And probably the roughest of the season so far as like changes. Now, I understand why some of these changes happened. The pandemic caused a lot of problems, and I think they didn't really catch us until the end of the season, unfortunately. Barney Harris not being there changed some stuff from that finale. The whole conversation with Perrin and Pod and Fane, like, that should have been Matt. Like, Perrin had never talked to him. Perrin didn't have any association with the dagger. Matt did. However, unfortunately, it's the way it is, and it was played out the way it was. I don't think it was as powerful as it could have been. It was a little awkward. It just sort of felt like, here, sit down, kid. I'm going to give you a talk. Like, it didn't really feel like there was any tension there between the two of them when that was. So it was very awkward. Loyal getting stabbed. Not a big fan of that. Getting stabbed with the tainted dagger from, yeah. I don't know how they're going to tie that in. Maybe they tie it in with finding Matt. I'm not exactly sure. I really don't know, but I didn't like that. But he's not dead. I'm telling you right now, Loyal's not dead. But I didn't like it. Uno rolling around on the ground, all slashed open. Who knows, what's going on. I know they're going to chop down and condense characters. They have to. They're going to have to crush story arcs. And some of our favorites aren't going to be there like they should be in the books. But, it is what it is. However, Loyal's not dead. And so the pandemic, it just added so many logistical problems, added so much confusion, and they had to do fast rewrites, and it made some stuff really awkward, like the whole Egwene Nynaeve thing, and like, so the end battle that they have, Agomar gets staked and it falls, and then this end battle where you have Amalisa, who was at best an accepted, though she spent a lot of years there, so I'm sure she trained in all sorts of different areas, linking and all sorts of different stuff. This whole scene was really weird and awkward, though it did parallel the story of Manetheren, where the army falls and then the army of Trollocs are coming at it, and she just unleashes one big blast to wipe out the battlefield. That was really cool visually. Like, I really enjoyed that. Like, watching Trollocs explode. Like, man, that brought a smile to my face. But the whole burning out sequence, like, I wasn't down with this whole thing. Like, Nynaeve and Egwene were by far the strongest of the women there, and you could just see it in the flows that were flowing into the link. You look at the ones coming through Egwene and Nynaeve, and they're just massive. And there's so many of them going in. I think there's 4 or 5 of them each just flowing in, where the other ladies got these nice little single little trickles going in. And, like, I get it. They were showing their power. But, like, and as the ladies started burning out one by one, weakest to strongest, like, that's the way it should have went down. And I think that Amalisa 100% should have just burned out long before our girls. And I think it would have had much more powerful effect have them having just survive it, like where they're singeing up, you can see them burning out, and then Amalisa burns out, the link's cut, boom, done. I think it would just made it so much more dramatic saving them that way than cheapening death by having Egwene bring her Nynaeve back. Like, I don't understand. Like, I just don't like this whole sequence. She wasn't dead. You could still see the embers burning, like where the ones that were burned out were just cindered and blacked, once they were gone. Nynaeve still had some cinders in there that were burning. So, yeah, all right, she was technically still alive. The whole scene just didn't play off well. I didn't like it. They should have just had Amalisa burn out before the 2 girls. Period. Maybe Nynaeve's got to heal Egwene a little. I don't know. But that whole was just very awkward, and I don't know how they're going to play that out going forward. And with the beginning of the finale, I thought was very cool the way we got to see Lews Therin having the conversation about sealing the bore with the Amyrlin and getting to see the Age of Legends. I thought that was really, really cool. But I think it would have been so much more powerful as sort of a condensed version of the prologue of Book 1, where you get the actual conversation between Lews Therin and Ishamael. And it would have made the whole end sequence with Rand and Ishamael make a whole lot more sense. It's not a spoiler, guys. I don't know, like, it's not the dark, it's Ishamael. If you pause the thing, it says Ishamael. He's one of the Forsaken. We get that back with the Steppen episode, where he's praying to the idols, and he says, I'm trying to, keep Ishamael away. Ishamael's been the one that's been affecting everybody's dreams through the whole season. Every time these weird dreams hits, it's Ishamael messing with their dreams, setting up all the pieces to get them there. To, like, it's one big sequence of events that he's trying to get Rand there. So when this whole finale happens, it just didn't make any sense. Like, it could have played out better. And I think if they had put the prologue in there, or even a condensed version of it, it would have made more sense, showing Ishamael having Lews Therin's Sa'angreal, which is what he used to shield Moraine. We'll get into that in a second. But Lews Therin has it in that conversation. We haven't seen the prologue yet. So we haven't had that conversation between Lews Therin and Ishamael, which I think would have made such a tremendous impact on the ending sequence with Rand and Ishamael. Because Ishamael shields Moraine. Okay? He doesn't still her. He just shields her. He does exactly what she did to Logain. Except the difference is he tied it off, and you see him. He goes, woo, and there's that little knot of power, and he goes and winks it out and ties off the weave. When they were shielding Logain, they were holding the shield on him. They didn't tie it off. And so Moraine's just shielded, but it's tied off, and then Rand blasts Ishamael out of the eye. And if you look at what's going on when Ishamael's standing there, and they're standing, and Rand's standing with the Sa'angreal out right before he blasts him, you'll see little tendrils of the taint, of the power, of the corruption going into the seal that's on the floor. And I that seal's made of Quendiar. And I think when Rand blasts him, that was a Shamael being tied to that seal, and it ripped a big crack into the seal. And I think that was the representation of weakening the Dark One's seal so that he can get his touch on the world a little better. I think this was the plan, and I think we're going to see more of the Forsaken as it's coming out. I think that's how they're going to roll this through. But the end of the Eye of the World in the book is a little confusing. So the changes that they made, they pulled some things from later and put them in. So yeah, I'm a little confused, but overall, those were my biggest issues. Were with the ending was really sort of how just Rand wanders off into the Blight. Like says, tell him I'm dead. Like, I don't understand where you're going. He says he's not going back to Fall Dara. Well, you're in the Blight, son. I don't know where you're going. So I'm not sure where they're going with that. So that was a little weird. But the whole Nynaeve Egwene healing thing, that didn't settle me well at all. That was my least favorite part of the entire season so far, of the entire series so far. And seeing Loial get stabbed by Podden Fane with the dagger. Like, yo, what are you doing? Like, I don't know how you're going to play that out and weave that back together, but I just didn't enjoy seeing it. So I had to put that in as my dislikes, though, you know, it is what it is. Like, I don't like the way he looked, but I love the way that he's played and the character's played out. So really, guys, that's for the whole season. Those are my real heavy dislikes. The pacing of some of the episodes and the editing of some of the episodes. But I think that some of that had to do with the pandemic. I think the pandemic really took its toll on the season. But I think a lot of it culminated right there in that final episode. The editing was so weird in that. It was all over the place. It was back and forth. It never settled on a conversation for too long. It kept jumping. It was very weird, and it was very difficult to watch, even after watching it again. So I would like to see the pacing adjusted a little bit. Like, it felt too fast in some spots and too slow in others, where I'm not sure how that's, maybe just the editing. Maybe just the editing can fix that. Maybe that's what affected the pacing for me throughout the show. Maybe it was just the editing that affected all that. I'm not sure, but those were my biggest gripes. I think that we could do with a couple more episodes, and if they're not going to give us more episodes for them, which they really need to do, I think they need to give us like a 2-hour premiere and a 2-hour finale, and that would make those extra couple episodes without actually having to call it 10 episodes. Just sort of an idea there. But if you think about it, like, TV shows used to have like 24 episodes a season. Like, go back and look at old shows. They all like 24 episodes a season. Now, I understand budgets are crazy and it's not really feasible, but like, where did this 10 episode thing come from? Like, that came from Game of Thrones. And then everybody just sort of followed suit, like, oh yeah, let's do 10. Like, guys, just tell your stories. Tell your stories. If you tell the story well, you're going to have more viewers. You're going to have more people invested in it, and you're going to make more money. I know it's expensive to make them, but once you have your sets, like, you've got a lot established. Like, we went to a lot of places this season. There was a lot of locations. And some of my praises for the show, oh my God, the locations were excellent. And now they're expensive, so I understand that's going to affect, like, we didn't get Camelin this season. And you know what? It's fine as long as you can tell the story in a engaging way Like, don't slaughter the story, and they've taken some liberties on writing some stuff in, though some of the stuff they've written in was stuff that we got off page. It wasn't necessarily just given to us in the books, but I felt we got some new Wheel of Time, guys. And at the end of the season, I'm a little confused. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. And as a book reader, you would think you would know what's coming. So after watching the entire season again, I binge watched it after Christmas. And we watch with people that haven't read the books. Like, a couple of the people that I watch with, we've all read the books. And we sort of try to keep our mouths shut while it's going on. But I love seeing the people that haven't read the books. They're just loving the show, and they're confused about some things, but we'll explain certain things to them. But overall, I've really enjoyed the show as a whole, but there's some things that it could benefit from, and these are thick books, and we need more episodes for sure. Or the episodes need to be longer, maybe an hour and a half each. Maybe that'll solve the problems as opposed to episodes. I'm throwing these out there because I don't want to just be the person that craps on it. Like, I don't like to be that negative person that's like, I hated it. Yeah, they forget it. Quit the season. Like, no, man. If you're going to throw criticism out, at least throw out something maybe in a way to correct it. So maybe a longer premiere and a longer finale, maybe that corrects it. Maybe hour and a half episodes, maybe 10 episodes, maybe 12 episodes. I would not be opposed to more episodes. And though that's just going to have to be made, by the people up at Amazon. Are they willing to kick more out if the crowd is there? And the numbers look like the crowd is there. I mean, it looks like it got good viewings, and the problems that it had, I think, really came from the pandemic. I think they really sort of strung more from that, and the quick rewrites and the issues that they had with janky story stuff. I think that really sort of came down to the pandemic. But overall, I really, really liked it. I think that the casting was so brilliant. Regardless of any controversy there was before the show was out, like, don't listen to the naysayers. Just wait till the show comes out and let's watch it. Like, now the season's done. Now we can sit down and we can really properly criticize it. Did they cast it incorrectly? No. It was phenomenal. The casting was amazing. Like, Loyal, I couldn't stand the way he looked when I first saw him. Still don't really like it. But he's cast so well, and it's the character. So regardless if they're taking stuff that's not from RJ, or they're writing new scenes for these guys, the characters, the actors and actresses are just killing it and selling it, and they are really pulling the essence of the characters of the books. So I'm on board with them. I love it. I think the casting's great. I got a couple maybe people here and there that I didn't really like, but whatever. They're all the mains, just killing it. Everybody's just great. The scenery, holy cow, those epic landscapes that we've got all throughout the season. They're just amazing. And I'm going to do an entire scenes video of my top 10s of those. I thought the locations were brilliant. We got to see a lot of locations, which was, I was kind of going into that budgeting thing. You have to build these places out. Once they're built out, well, then you can go back to them, and it doesn't cost as much to go back, and you can do a lot more in post once you've got this stuff already done. So I think as the seasons roll on and we get new locations, we'll be able to go back to these old locations because we already have them. They're already there. A lot of these set pieces like Tarvalon, which was phenomenal. All those, like, we can go back and revisit that, so that doesn't have to be rebuilt. So we got the Two Rivers, Breen Spring, we got Geldon, Tarvalon, Faldara. We got all the different Tinker Camp, the caravans, all the different camps, the White Cloaks, the Aes Sedais. So we got all these different great set locations that now don't have to be reproduced. We've got them. So they're there. So when we go forward and you start introducing new stuff, like we got a little peek of the Aiel, which was still one of my favorite parts of the entire season so far, was that opener with the blood snow. Oh, just phenomenal. Uh, we'll be able to go there, and we'll be able to come back and revisit. We even got a little peek of Tyr with the Fingers of the Dragon with Swan's opening. And in the background, there was a building up top. Now, I'm not saying it was the Stone of Tyr, but it was probably the Stone of Tyr. We just didn't get to see all of it. But that'll be coming in more, and possibly next season, possibly the following season. I'm not sure where we're going to get it. But anyway, guys, I have a lot of faith in where they're going. I like sort of what they're doing and where they're going with it, as far as the overall arc. I don't like some of the smaller things, and these are like just character things, because these characters are very dear to the hearts of the readers. Some of us have known them for several decades, and we're very attached to them. And as long as they're being portrayed well on screen, I'm happy with it. Don't butcher them. Don't butcher their arcs. All the characters have very distinct arcs, and I'd like to see those go forward. Now, I do understand pandemic, it caused some rewrites, so they're going to have to weave some stuff back together. But hey, the wheel weaves as the wheel wills. And they're going to have to weave those back together and pull them a little bit tighter and explain a couple things. But we're going to have a new Matt coming in, and I'm excited to see Donald Finn. I am terribly sad that Barney Harris is leaving. I really loved him as Matt. He was a little gritty, dark, but I don't know if Moraine's healing, like they showed a pretty sinister picture of Matt. I don't know if our darkness story with Matt is where that's at. The dagger is with Fane. The Horn of Valir is with Fane. So they're gonna have to tie some things together for next season. But I have faith that they're gonna, and I have faith that it's gonna start moving more bookish as we go. We got our first peek of the Sean Chen at the end. I thought the way they were portrayed was really awesome. The memes are hysterical right now. The memes with the tidal wave and the little girl. And for anybody that's wondering, they did not send a tsunami for a girl on the beach that was digging clams. Okay. That was a very generalized statement for like the entire area. That's going to do some horrific damage right there. Like, I live in the Caribbean. I know what the ocean can do in a very short amount of time and how bad it can be. And this was just a blanket statement for, hello, we are here. And yes, we've returned. And so I can't wait to see where they go with this. I really like the look of the Sean Chen. I liked the Damani and the Suldam. I thought the portrayal of the Adam was cool. I thought it looked better than like a weird leash. I didn't think it was going to be played that way. I liked the way they looked quite a bit. I think it looked very good. It was visually very stunning, and then that massive tsunami, I thought that was a great way to end the season. I thought it was really cool. I can't wait to see where we go. Camelin, Carrion, we've got Tyr, Ilion. We got to see some of the Ilioners. We're going to go there. Guys, I'm really looking forward to sharing this journey with you. And I want to thank everybody that's started this journey with me. There was just a couple of you right when it started, and it really started because I was explaining stuff to people that hadn't watched the show, and they said, oh, you should just make a video on that. And so here we are, and now we've got some subs, and people are watching the videos. So guys, I want to thank you for coming along on this trip with me. Guys, we're going to have a whole lot of videos coming out in the off season. I want to keep doing them. try to do them every week, maybe a couple a week. I don't know. Depends on what we're doing them on. Depends on how long they take to put together. I want to start doing some breakdown videos of like the Aes Sedai and a little bit on the Aiel and some of these different locations maybe that we've seen. And even put down in the comments what you'd like to see in videos. If you have any ideas for them, things you'd like explained without spoilers. But guys, if I am going to put out spoiler videos for some of these, they'll be labeled heavy spoilers. I won't give that away for you. But guys, thank you for coming along on this journey. Season 1 is a wrap. I'm excited about Season 2. Had Season 1, again, my biggest issues, the beginning and the ending. I thought the rest was pretty strong throughout. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Guys, go back. I break down every episode thoroughly. I think the breakdowns are probably as long as the videos because I go through them almost scene by scene. So guys, if you haven't watched those, go back and check them out. And I covered a couple of the songs. I covered Wheat from Manetherin and The Man Who Can't Forget. Check those out. Those are in another playlist. I'm going to do all the songs of the Wheel of Time. So as they play songs throughout the show in different locations, I'm gonna sit down and learn them. Like I learned that Tinker's Jam, but there was no words. No, it was just a big drum circle, and I can't do a drum circle by myself. But I would like to do my renditions of these songs. I play music. I play music pretty regularly out. Play shows. You can check that out under One Moke. That's on there, sitting on those videos as well. And I played out one of the songs and somebody came up and went, "Hey, that's from the Wheel of Time." I thought it was fantastic. It made my day. So guys, thank you again for sticking around for all the episodes. Stay tuned for a whole lot more to come. Guys, I'm G. This is G. Amwa, and we will see you next time.